What's happening, everyone? Nick here from TV Box Top, and welcome back to another Android TV Box review. In today's video, we have the second release from Ugoos, which is the alternative version to the SK2 model called the SK4. This model caters for those who prefer the mobile version of Android, and it runs on the latest Amlogic S905X5 chipset. For those who are unfamiliar with the Ugoos brand, they are rated the #1 Android TV box manufacturer in the world when it comes to quality, features, and firmware support. So don't go anywhere, my full in-depth review begins right after a word from one of our sponsors. And welcome back. So in this purchase, you get the SK4 model, a Bluetooth voice remote, one HDMI cable, a 12 volts 1 amp DC power supply, and a user manual. For design, its body is the same as the SK2 model. It has a glossy plastic outer shell with the Ugoos branding. For I/O, it comes with one HDMI 2.1 port, one optical audio port, one non-gigabit Ethernet LAN port, and its DC input socket to its rear. For storage, it comes with one USB Type-C port and another USB 2.0 port. You also have your reset button here on the side. At the front, it has an LED power light, and to its base has 4 rubber feet with no ventilation holes. So when you start up this box, you are greeted with a Ugoos animation followed by a first startup wizard. You are then presented with the option of 2 launchers, Launcher 3 and the Ugoos U Launcher. For this video, I'll be using Launcher 3 as it has features of the mobile version of Android, such as drag and drop shortcuts and long-click menu pop-ups. It also has a navigation bar and full status bar with system controls. Ugoos is the only manufacturer on the market today that continues to release boxes running on the mobile version of Android that features a navigation bar with a recent apps feature and a pull-down status bar with system controls. This firmware also features split screen function. So with this launcher, you get all of the bells and whistles. You can navigate with a PC mouse or a remote that has an air mouse feature. The included remote has an air mouse feature, which is an added bonus, and it also features voice search and voice commands. For basic system information, it shows that its operating system is Android 14. Here is its firmware build information, and you have access to developer options. You can ask anyone who has owned a Ugoos as well as other boxes, and they will tell you that Ugoos is probably the only manufacturer that consistently releases firmware updates for their boxes. So here, upon connecting to the internet, I'm presented with my first firmware update. And to prove that it's not a one-off, here I received another update. And now a quick run-through of its firmware features. You get up to 4K 2160p at 60Hz display. You get HDR display with the option to force HDR always on or automatically match your content's format. You get up to 12-bit color depth. It has auto frame rate switching. It has screen rotation to portrait mode, reverse portrait, and reverse landscape. Under supported video formats, you get HDR10, HLG, and Dolby Vision. I'm unsure if it supports HDR10 Plus because my TV does not have that feature. There is a Dolby Vision mode feature to set the color depth of Dolby Vision between 8-bit and 12-bit. There is also Auto Dolby Vision display available in this model, which I'm happy to see. You get HDMI CEC options. You get a button mapping feature to add special functions to the colored buttons on the remote. You can control the behavior and function of the mini button on the remote. You have mouse pointer options. You have microphone options to select which platform handles your voice search commands. You have advanced power options where you can change the CPU's clock speed performance from economy to max performance. It comes with a built-in hardware monitor feature where you can monitor an array of system processes. Mainly, I use the CPU temperature monitor. You will get a floating on-screen display as well as a reading on the status bar. You have a root switch by way of the Magics application. Under storage, you have your Samba server and client server feature. And you have support of all surround sound Dolby and DTS audio formats. If you are an advanced user, under additional settings, you can access the default Android settings area. There is one feature I cannot mention because it's controversial with YouTube's community guidelines. Now let's look at its system and hardware information, and it's nice to see that we have some new specs for 2026. So the chipset manufacturer is Amlogic, and this model comes with 4GB of DDR4 RAM and 64GB of internal storage with Bluetooth 5.4. Its CPU is the Amlogic S905X5M that's finally started rolling out in the last quarter of 2025. It's a quad-core Cortex-A55 processor, and get this, it's clocked at 2.5 GHz, which is higher than most of the high-end models, and the only caveat is that it's still configured in 32-bit mode. Its display and graphics are powered by the Mali G310 graphics processor with OpenGLES version 3.2. It has a Wi-Fi 6 network adapter that supports dual-band 2.4 GHz plus 5G networks. Its Android version is Android 14 as mentioned in the intro, and currently its firmware is not rooted. But remember, you have a root switch, so you can root this box if you so choose. Under devices, it shows that its GPU has Vulkan support under a new API version 1.3. So I'll be looking to see what improvements in graphics performance you get with this new upgrade. Surprisingly, with its CPU clocked at 2.5 GHz, it has a steady CPU idle temperature of around 53 degrees Celsius, which is also quite low for its CPU clock speed this high. For video and audio decoders, it comes with the full range. For video, you get HEVC, AV1, VP9, and Dolby Vision. And for audio, you get Atmos EAC3, AC4, DTS HD, and DTS UHD. So these are some pretty exciting specs, and let's see how well it performs in some live testing. For digital rights management, you should not expect any in this model because it's running the mobile version. So it comes with Google Widevine Level 3 with no HDCP protection. What this means is that movie platforms such as Netflix, Prime Video, and Disney Plus will be restricted to basic 480p resolution. And for root access, out of the box, by default the firmware is not rooted. But not to worry, you can gain root access by simply heading over to the settings area under the Super User option and enable the Super User feature. The box will then restart and you will see a new Magics icon in the app section. Open and install Magics and the box will restart again, and then you would have root access. For watching YouTube videos, you get up to 4K 2160p with HDR display. So now onto some live testing of audio and video formats. I'll first test for HDR10, AV1, HLG and Dolby Vision. So this is HDR10 and it triggers the feature. This is an AV1 video and it triggers the HDR10 feature. This is a Dolby Vision video and it triggers the Dolby Vision feature. Here's another Dolby Vision and this one also has Dolby Atmos. This video is formatted as HDR10+, but I cannot accurately test it because my TV does not feature HDR10+. And this video is formatted in HLG format and it triggers the HLG feature. If you are interested in surround sound audio formats, you will need to know that the only media player that currently processes all of the audio formats is the Kodi media player. The Nova player plays all of the Dolby formats but none of the DTS formats. So this is Dolby Atmos.
This is Dolby Atmos, the world's first object-based cinematic audio. With powerful moving audio that transcends from channels.
Next you have Dolby Digital Plus.
Whether the soundscape sets the mood of the scene.
Whoa! What is this place? Come on, you guys, let's go!
Next you have DTS HD Master Audio. You get Dolby Surround. You get Dolby True HD.
This is the left channel. Next, we have the center channel. Over here is the right channel.
And DTS-X. For Android gaming, I was eager to see if this new chipset with its CPU clocked at 2.5 GHz and a new GPU had any improvement in performance and graphics rendering than the previous S905X4 and the Mali G31. So for my usual test, I set Shadowgun Legends to the extreme graphics settings with an FPS of 60Hz. And from my testing, I'm sorry to say, without a 64-bit architecture, there isn't a great difference from the previous chipset. It plays smoothly between 59 and 60 FPS without overheating, but without 64-bit, you can't really test its full potential. Let's now take a look at some benchmarks and where it ranks on my chart. First, the results from its RAM and internal storage read and write speeds. It has a RAM copy speed of 4,533 megabytes per second. Its internal storage has a read speed of 254 megabytes per second and a write speed of 145 megabytes per second. In testing its dual Wi-Fi bands and Ethernet LAN speeds, the results show that on the 5G band, it achieved the maximum speed of my network. The 2.4 GHz band averaged around 85 megabits per second, and the Ethernet LAN port is not a gigabit LAN port, and it averaged around 94 megabits per second. In benchmarking its CPU's single-core and multi-core performance, the Geekbench 5 CPU benchmark produced a score of 195 single-core and 682 multi-core. In benchmarking its graphics performance with Vulkan support, the Tridimark Wildlife test produced a score of 618 with an average FPS of 3.70. And in the Comprehensive Antutu Benchmark version 11, it received a score of 236,407. So I've updated my chart with the new SK4 benchmarks, and at the time of recording this video, it ranks at position 14. I give it a 3 out of 5 star rating because even with all its bells and whistles, they should have made it a 64-bit model. So if you would like to view this chart to compare it to other boxes in this list, you can use the link provided in the description below this video. I also placed a quick access link directly to the product page, so see the link in the description. In summary, this box is almost perfect. All it needed was for it to be 64-bit. It does not feature any Google Widevine and HDCP protection because it was not meant for streaming subscription services such as Netflix, Disney Plus, and Prime Video. If you are interested in those services, you can check out the SK2 model. All in all, this box is fantastic. It's a great start for 2026. This box features all your bells and whistles, and it's competitively priced at only $122 at the time of recording this video. So viewers, there you have it, another great release from Ugoos. In this model, they have not dropped their standard, and this is the mobile version of Android for those who prefer this option. So if you would like to purchase this model, you can do so using the link provided in the description below this video. Links in the description are affiliate links, and you support the channel directly when you use my link to purchase, so thanks in advance for your support. Also, this model and the SK2 model will be available for purchase on my online store at second-hand prices, so see the link in the description. Thanks for watching. Give this video the thumbs up if you enjoyed the presentation. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to click the subscribe button and ring the notifications bell to receive notifications each time I release new videos, offer second-hand prices, or decide to do a giveaway. Stay connected and see you in the next one.